Hello students. In this video, we are going to learn few programs which are useful for the interviews. Some of them are conversion programs. We can convert a decimal number into binary number, or a decimal number into octal number, a decimal number into hexadecimal number, and similarly we can also convert a binary number into decimal number, an octal number into decimal number, and hexadecimal number into decimal number. So before we start the logic, we should have the knowledge of loops as well as number systems. In my previous video, I teached about loops as well as if-else statements. Now, let us see the number systems. The binary number system base value is 2 and its allowed digits are 0 and 1 only. Octal number system, the base number is 8 and the allowed numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Decimal number system, the base number is 10 and the allowed digits are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Hexadecimal number system, where the base number is 16, it is allowed digits are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10 is called A, 11 is called B, 12 is called C, 13 is called D, 14 is called E, 15 is called F. Remember, because it is starting with 0, there must be 16 numbers allowed. So 0 to 15 are total 16 numbers. Similarly, in decimal number, total 10 numbers are allowed and we are starting with 0, so ends with a 9. Similarly, octal number system, total 8 numbers are allowed and we are starting with 0, so ends with 7. So 16 also, total 16 numbers are allowed, we are starting with 0, the numbers are taken up to 9, after that 10 is called A, 11 is called B, 12 is called C, 13 is called D, 14 is called E and 15 is called F. See, I took one small example to convert the given decimal number into binary number system. That input number is 13 and it is divided with 2. The quotient is 6 and the remainder is 1. So we are taking a number, we are dividing that number with 2 because we want to convert into binary. We want to convert it into binary. Binary means 2, decimal means base is 10. So we are dividing with 2. This is our quotient and this is our remainder. Again we will take this quotient for the next number, that is divided with 2 and we get 3 as the quotient, 0 as the remainder. Again 3 is sent as the next number, 3 is divided with 2 and quotient is 1 and remainder is also 1. Again 1 is taken as the next number, that is divided with 2. So 1 divided by 2 is equals to 0 and the remainder is 1. So these numbers are written from left to right. This is how we can convert a given decimal number into binary conversion. Now see the logic. First we will store the reminders. We will store the reminders when the number is divided by 2 into an array. We already learned what is an array. Array is nothing but a collection of same type of numbers. Collection of same type of numbers. Sorry for the worst drawings. So now the number is again divided by 2 so that you will get that next number which is a quotient. Remainder means you have to divide it with modulo operator, then you will get the remainder. When you want the quotient, you have to use the division operator. So these two steps are repeated for until the number is greater than 0. Once the number becomes 0, we will stop this process and print the array numbers in array values in the reverse order. So the basic logic of this program to convert a decimal number to binary number, what we are trying to do is, first we are going to divide the number using a modulo operator with 2. The number mod 2 you are doing, and this will be stored in an array. Say array index always starts with 0, so we will declare a variable I equals to 0 and you will say I plus plus. That means every time you store this remainder, I will increment. After that, you want to store that number. Number is nothing but next time the number must be number by 2 so that I will get the quotient into number. As we said, 13 is divided by 2, then quotient was 6. So 6 is stored in this A and remainder was 1. 1 is stored here in the array. So these two steps are repeated n number of times so that until this n becomes 0. Once the n becomes 0, we are going to print all the numbers in the array in the reverse order. I believe you know how to print array elements in the reverse order. Now, before going to this, I would like to show you how to do that in the program. I will show you how we can execute the code. Here I am writing the code. I have used the header file stdio.h which is used for printf and scanf for all the standard input output functions. In the main program, we have declared an array with maximum 10 elements and we are storing the input in NUM and the same number can be stored in N also. I is for iteration purpose. We are taking I value as 0. The input is stored in NUM and the same NUM is also stored in N. So now I am going to check the condition. As I said, until the number not equals to 0, we are going to do two steps. First step is we are going to divide the number by 2 and we are getting the remainder by using the modulo operator and that is stored in the a of ith position, and I is also incremented by 1. After that, we are going to take the quotient. Quotient will occur by dividing using the division operator, and that is stored again in the number. And again you are going and checking the condition. Num is not equals to 0. So once it is completed, we are going to print n value, which is binary equivalent. After that, we are going to print the decimal, which is decimal equivalent. After that, we are going to print the binary equivalent. Let me run this program. It is asking for decimal number. I am giving 13. 13 decimal number is equivalent to 1101. Let me check. See this, 1101. And there is some garbage has occurred because I did not use I equals to I minus 1 here. Because once I is incremented every time, it will also increment after that you are checking the condition. So we have to reduce I value by 1. I equals to I minus 1 we have to check. Now let me, this has to go, this garbage value has to go. That's why I checked I equals to I minus 1 here. Now I am giving the same 30. I need to get 1101 as the answer. See, this is our answer. Similarly, we will check the same number when we are converting a binary number into decimal. By the time we have to get this 13 as the output. Okay. Now let us come back to the calculations here. See, 17 will be in our n. These are n values. So initial n value is 17. 17 is divided by 2. Quotient is 8. 2 8s are 16. Remainder is 1. So again 8 is divided with 2. 2 4s are 8. Remainder is 0. Again quotient 4. 4 is divided with 2. 2 2s are 4. Remainder is 0. Now 2 is not equals to 0. So 2 is divided with 2 and 2 ones are 2. Remainder is 0. Again you are going to take this as your quotient. You are going to divide this one. 2 zeros are 0 and remainder is 1. Now n becomes 0. Now we will stop and we are going to write all these numbers. So 1 0 0 0 1. So we are writing from bottom to top. So this is our result. When we are converting given 17 into binary, we have to get this particular answer. Let us check the same thing again. So we have to get the answer 10001 for the given input 17. Let us check that. 17 10001. So this program is working absolutely fine. Now going to the next one. Now we have to convert the decimal number into octal number. This is similar to the previous question, where in the previous question we were converting a decimal number into binary number. So we were dividing the number with 2. But here we are converting a decimal number into octal number. Octal means 8. So we are always dividing with 8. So same procedure we are going to follow for decimal to octal conversion. First we are going to store the reminders in an array and we will get the quotients into number, and these two steps are repeated continuously. When number becomes 0, then we are coming out and printing the array elements in the reverse order. This is same like binary, only change is in binary we were dividing with 2, whereas in octal we are dividing with 8. See the example. So here in this example, we took 33. 33 is divided with 8. 8 fours are 32 and the remainder is 1. Again 4 is divided with 8. So 8 zeros are 0, remainder is 4. So the answer is 41 for given 33. Similarly here 1032 is given. 1032 is divided with 8. 8 129 times it will divide and the remainder is 0. 129 is again divided with 8. 8 16s 128. So remainder is 1. 16 is again divided with 2. 8 twos are 16. Remainder is 0. 2 is again divided with 8. Then you will get number as 0 but remainder as 2. So from bottom to top we are going to write the value as 2010 is equivalent of octal number for the given 1032 of decimal number system. Base value for decimal number is 10 and base value for octal number is 8. Hope you understand this. Now let us check the program before we go into hexadecimal conversion. So here what we are going to change is simply we are going to change as 8. Let me run this program. Let me give the input as 33. The same output 41 has come. Because I am giving space here it is showing the space. Only change I did for the previous program was, earlier it was 2, means binary to decimal to binary conversion. We are taking a decimal number, we are dividing with 2, so we are getting a binary number. Now we are getting a decimal number, we are dividing it with 8, so we are getting an octal equivalent. So let us run the program. This time I want to give 1032 as our input. Let us check the output. See, 2010 is our output. So it is also working very fine. Only modification we did was changing base number. Now see the next question. We have to convert a decimal number into hexadecimal number. Here the hexadecimal means it will use 16 values, but not all 16 values are numbers. It will use 0 to 9 digits, after that A to F as characters. So how to convert this decimal number into hexadecimal number? See, we are having ASCII values for each and every character in a computer. So according to the ASCII values, the numbers 0 to 9 will be considered as 48 to 57. Similarly, capital A to Z are considered from 65 to 90. If we remember these two, we can easily write hexadecimal number system. So 0 to 9 starts from 0 is nothing but 48. Capital A is 65. Right? The remaining numbers will be just an increment of 1 for each. Now let us see the actual process of converting a decimal number into hexadecimal number. Now we are going to divide the given number with 16 and store the remainder in a temporary variable called temp. And then we are going to check two conditions, whether temp is less than 10 or greater than 10. If temp is less than 10, means in hexadecimal number system we are having values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. Apart from that, we are also having 10 means A, 11 means B, C, D, E and F. So 10 means I can call it as A. B means it is nothing but 11. C means 12. D means 13. E means 14. F means 15. As we know, 0 means ASCII equivalent is 48 and capital A for that ASCII equivalent is 65. We know these points. So based on that one, if the temporary value in the temp is less than 10, means it will be under these numbers. So these are between 0 to 9. These are digits. Digits ASCII starts with 48. So we are adding 48 plus temp so that we can convert it into a number. So if the temp is greater than or equals to 10, then we have to convert it into a number. So how can we do that? This is A. A means 65. But we are already having 10 in the temporary. 10 plus 55 means how much? Nothing but 65, which is equivalent to the ASCII number for the given A. So that is why we are adding 55 to the temp, 48 to the temp if the temp value is less than 0, and if the temp value is greater than 0, we are adding 55 to the temp in the character array. Now for the next iteration we have to get the quotient. So for that we are dividing the number by 16. These two steps are repeated until the number becomes 0. Once the number becomes 0, we are simply printing the array elements in the reverse order. Now see this example. So we have given 2545 as the decimal number, and we have to convert this into hexadecimal number. So 2545 is divided with 16. 16 159 times is equal. So remainder is 1. Again 159 is divided with 16. 16 nines, it will get the remainder as 15. And 9 is divided with 16. 16 zeros, remainder is 9. So now these are our temporary numbers, values in temporary variable. So as said, if the temporary value is less than 10, you are going to add 48 to the temporary number. That means how much? This is 49. 49, 0 is 48, 1 means 49. So because I got 49 in the character array, its equivalent ASCII number is 1. Similarly, next one, remainder is 15. 15 is greater than 10. So what we are going to do is we are going to add 55 to the existing 15. So what will be the answer? 70. So what is 70? A equals to 65. B is 66. C is 67. D 68. E 69. F is 70. These are continuous numbers. 65 it will start. A starts with 65. B is 66. C is 67. D is 68. E is 69 and F is 70. So instead of this is 70, the 70 is converted into a character array which is F. Next remainder is 9. 9 is less than 10. So we are going to add 48 plus 9. 48 plus 9. So which means 57. 57 is nothing but 9 only. So this is our reminders. These reminders are written. 1. These reminders are written in the hexadecimal format. Now see one more example. I'm going to take you into the programming side. I'm going to write the code. In this program what we did was we took array number I reminder. So decimal number we are storing in NUM. The same thing I am storing in N also for final printing. So until number is not equals to 0, we are doing this process. We are storing the remainder in REM and we are checking the condition. If the remainder is less than 10, we are adding 48 to the remainder and storing it into the array. If the remainder is greater than 10, we are adding 55 to the remainder and storing it into the character array. Now for the next iteration, we are dividing number with 16 using the division operator so that we can get the quotient into NUM. This procedure will repeat until we get the answer. So once it is done, we are going to print the hexadecimal equivalent of N is. We are printing it as a character so we can get the answers. So now I am going to give the input. My number is, the decimal number that I want to give is 26 and I have to get 1A as the answer. If you want, you can check it with the calculation as I showed you how to convert the given decimal number into hexadecimal. You try this example. 26 is equivalent to 1A or not. You check it and let me know. So As of me, that is the right answer. Now we are going back. Now we want to convert in the reverse order. That means up to now we were converting a given decimal number into other number systems like binary, octal and hexadecimal. Now we are going to convert the other number systems into decimal number system. So first thing we are trying to do is convert a binary number into a decimal number. So here the input is a binary number. Input is a binary number. What we can do here is every digit is multiplied with the 2 to the power of 0, 2 to the power of 1. Let us suppose I am having a number called 13. 13 means 1101. Right? So this 1101, what you are going to do is, this is 2 power 0 place, this is 2 power 1 place, and this is 2 square place, and this is 2 cube place. 2 cube means 8, 2 square means 4, 2 power 1 means 2, 2 power 0 means 1. So now I don't have 0 into anything is 0. So what we are going to do is 8 plus the numbers which are having 1. 1 into 8 is 8. So 1 into 4 is 4. 0 into 2 is 0. 1 into 1 is 1. Now you calculate this one. 8 plus 4, 12, 12 plus 1 is 13. 13 is our answer. Okay, so every time, each digit of the binary number, starting from the last with the last digit till the first digit, we are going to multiply with powers of 2 and add all the multiplied digits so that you will get a sum as a decimal number. So let us see the next one. See, 1010 is the number, binary number. So 0 least significant bit and 1 most significant bit. Start with the least significant bit. 0 into 2 power 0 is 0 only. 1 into 2 power 1 is 2. This is nothing but 2. This is 0. So we are adding them. So now again we are checking. 0 into 2 square. 0 into anything is 0. Then again we are going into 1 into 2 cube. That means 8. 8 plus 2, which is nothing but decimal equivalent 10. So this is how we are going to convert a given binary number into decimal number system. Now we are going to see one more thing. So this is another example. 10101. So every digit from the right hand side till the left hand side, we are increasing the powers of 2. From 0 to 1 by 1 we are increasing. So first 1 into 2 power 0 is 1. 0 into 2 power 1 is 0. 1 into 2 square is 4. 0 into 2 cube is 0. 1 into 2 power 4 is 16. So 16 plus 4. Decimal equivalent is 21, not 20. So this way we are going to convert the programs. So now let us see how to do this in the editor. Now I am going to write the program. I am going to convert binary number into decimal number system. what we are doing here in this program is we used POW function because 2 to the power of 0, 2 to the power of 1, 2 square, that we have to calculate. So POW function is required. So I am using math.h function. So number which you are going to give in the binary format, that is stored in MUM. For iteration purpose means I am going to store the values, powers starts from 0. So for that I have taken I as a variable. Remainder will be stored in REM, and finally we are going to add all the multiplied digits and store it into sum. So we are taking S is equals to 0. Now start the logic. Here what we are trying to do is, until the number is not equals to 0, we will do this process. What is that? Number is divided with 10, the remainder is stored in REM. And then what we are trying to do is, to the remainder, we are getting 2 to the power of I value. We are multiplying it with 2 to the power of I. So initial I value is 0. So 2 power 0 means 1. 1 into the remainder, that is added to the sum, and again the result is stored in sum only. So at a time we are multiplying and adding the digits also. For the next number we are tying number equals to number by 10, so that the quotient will be stored in the NUM variable. Every time I value, power value has to increase by 1, so we are incrementing I value by 1. After completion of this particular loop, we are coming to the conclusion of decimal equivalent number we are writing using %d symbol. Now let us check this condition. So earlier we checked that 1101 is equivalent to 13. It is working. So we will check for the another number. 1010 is nothing but 10. See, we are getting the answer properly. So this program is working absolutely fine. Now the next question is to convert octal number into decimal number. So now this time the input is nothing but the octal number. In the previous program input was binary, whereas in this program input is in octal number system. So octal means 8. So earlier each digit was multiplied with 2 to the power, and here every digit is multiplied with 8 to the power, 8 power 0. So all the multiplied digits are added, and finally the sum is displayed on the screen. Now see the example. 123 is an octal number. This octal number is converted into decimal by, first we will extract each digit from the given octal number by dividing that number with 10, and the remainder is nothing but 3. So if you are dividing 123 with 10, it will run for 12 times, and you will get 120, and the remainder is 3. We are storing this, right? So this 3 is multiplied with 8 to the power of 0. Now I am taking this as my next number. So I am taking this as my next number. So again 12 is divided with 10. So 10 ones are 10, and the remainder is 2. And this 2 is here. So we are extracting each digit. Now again we will take this quotient and we are going to divide that 1 again with 10. So 10 zeros 0 and the remainder is 1. So this one is here. So every time 8 to the power I value, initially it was 0, then I plus 1 it is 1, then I plus 2 it is 2. So 8 to the power of 0, 8 to the power of 1, 8 to the power of 2 has done. So 8 square is nothing but 16, 64, 64 into 1 is equals to 64. Again 8 into 2 is 16. Again 8 power 0 means 1, 1 into 3 is 3. These three digits are added, so we are getting a result. This is how we are going to convert given octal number into a decimal number system. So this is another way I am showing. So 2 into 8 power 0 done is 2. 7 into 8 power 1 is 56. 1 into 8 square is 64. We are adding all these numbers so that we will get 122 base 10. So earlier we checked 123 and its output is 83, and now 172 and its number is 122. Now let us see the same using a editor. We are giving 123 as input. We are getting output as 83 as we checked. Only change I did here was instead of 2 I used 8, nothing more than that. Instead of 2 we can simply put 8 in place of 2 so that binary number to decimal number is converted into octal to decimal conversion. Let us check one more time. What is 172? 172 is equivalent to 122. 172 of octal is equivalent to 122 of decimal number. Now, check for the next question. Here we are going to convert hexadecimal to decimal number. We know that hexadecimal number will accept digits 0 to 9 and characters A to F in its allowed digits. So, we will store that given input in some variable called hex, and we will take a decimal as 0, and digit is nothing but the given hexadecimal number's length minus 1. Usually string length will be converted, then it will have one extra character. So we are reducing that extra character by using minus 1. And we are also taking I is equals to 0, which is used for to the power of. And we are going to run the loop for each hexadigit. So this is our loop which we are going to run. Here we are taking that hexa as a character array, because it is having characters also, not only numbers. So we are considering that as a string. I already told you a string is nothing but a collection of characters. And a string is ended with a special character called null. And here I am checking with the null character only. Once the null character is reached, the hexadecimal number is completed. So until that we are reading each digit. And inside the loop, we are trying to find the integer value of hex of I, and that value is stored in the variable val. Now, we have to convert the hexa into decimal using decimal equals to decimal number plus sum equal to sum plus value, which is a hexadecimal digit, into 16 to the power of I. So these are the two, that's why we took decimal and digit. Digit is nothing but the length of your hexadecimal digit minus 1. So let us suppose in a hexadecimal number 2 digits are there. It will show 2 and we are taking it as 1 because 0 and 1 are 2 digits. Now see this example 1a base 16. So a is nothing but the value 10. So this is stored in val. So decimal number equal to decimal number plus the digit value into 16 to the power of decimal. So here 16 into 16 10 into 16 power 0 is nothing but 10. After 1 into 16 to the power of 1 is equal to 16. We are adding these two numbers, we are getting 26. So given hexadecimal number is converted into decimal number. So what we are doing? First we are taking the input as a hexadecimal string. After that each digit is converted into a number. After that these numbers are multiplied with 6 to the power of decimal. So place. After that all these digits are added and finally the sum is displayed on the screen as a decimal number. So let me tell you the program. I will show you the program now for converting a hexadecimal number into decimal number. See, in this, hex is nothing but the input which we are going to store into a character array. So it is considered as a string and we are taking decimal to store to the power we want to store it. So decimal number is equivalent to 0 and we are also taking I for to convert each digit positions we want to store it. So I is equals to 0. Array index starts from 0th location. So I value is also equals to 0 and we want to convert that character into ASCII number. So that will be stored in value. And we want to know the length of the given input string. For that we are using len. Now see this. First we are going to read hex. After that we are converting that string length we are trying to calculate and that is stored in length and immediately I am reducing the length minus. And within the for loop we are starting from 0th index until the hexa of I position is not equals to null value. We are going to run this loop. Every time I value is incremented by 1. Now see, if the hexa characters are between 0 to 9, we have to minus 48. Okay. Similarly, hexa values are between A to F. A means 97. So we have to minus 97 and then we have to add plus 10 because it starts from 10th position. So we have to add 10. After that, if it is capital A, means it is 65. So we are minus 65 and then we are adding 10 to that so that you can get the exact number. So now value has occurred. This value is multiplied with 16 to the power of length. Every time length value is reduced. So these values are added to the decimal number. So finally we are printing the decimal values. I am taking 1A. 1A is nothing but 26. So this program is working absolutely fine. What we did inside the loop is nothing but conversion of the given number into, character into a number value. So next one is about converting the Roman numbers into decimal numbers. Before that, we should learn what is a Roman number. So we know all these Roman numbers. Apart from that, we have to learn these as the Roman numbers also. This is 1, this is 5, this is 10, this is 50, and this is 100, this is 500, and this is 1000. So these Roman numbers are useful for us to understand the actual concept later. So now see, first we are going to take the Roman number as our input and we will use a switch statement. Normally a switch statement is used for choosing any one option from the multiple options. So switch is something like this, switch and here you will be writing the expression. This expression must be an integer, or character. It will not accept either a float or a double. So this expression must be either integer or a character. So once this expression is compared with the given number, then it will check with the cases. There can be any number of cases and case labels need not be in the sequence, and it will compare with the case label. If any of these case labels are equal, matched with the expression, then the set of statements we write here will execute. But there is a condition that after each case you have to write break statement. If you are not writing the break statement, it will, let us suppose we are having two cases, case 2, case 1, case 2, and case 1 is correct, matched with the expression. Then it has to execute only this statement. After that, it has to come out of the switch statement. Let us suppose you forgot to write break statement, then it will execute this statement as well as the other statement also until it find a break statement. So that is the problem if you are not using a break statement. And the second one, these labels need not be in the sequence. They can be in any order and they must be unique. They must be either integers or characters. And if no case label is matched with the expression, you can write any default statements which can be executed when no case label is matched with the expression. This is how we can write a switch statement. So in this program, we are going to use a switch statement to define the value of each Roman digit, because in this these numbers, these Roman values are having numbers. So we have to write these as the Roman, case label, and for that we have to give this as its number. So this is your case label and this is the number you want to return. This is the case label, this is the number you want to return. These are all characters, so they must be enclosed in single quotations when you are writing in the case label. So you are trying to define the value of each Roman digit. So through switch statement, access each digit. of the Roman number and compute the value. Finally, print the value and exit. So now see this. Here Roman numbers are represented by these characters. And these character values I have showed you in the previous slide also. Repeating a Roman numeral up to 3 times represents the addition of the number. See, in this 3 times it is repeated. So x means what? X is nothing but 10. So 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30. Right. Similarly, C. C is repeated 3 times. What is the value of C? 100. So 100 plus 100 plus 100 is 300. So if any character is repeated 3 times, then that must be added. That is the meaning of that particular statement. Okay, similarly there are some other conditions as well. Here two conditions, L and X, X and L. So if the Roman numbers are in decreasing order from left to right. So L is greater number, X is a smaller number. X is nothing but 10. L is nothing but 50. So decreasing order. Then you are going to add them. If it is in increasing order, X is a smaller number and L is a bigger number, then you are going to do subtraction of these two numbers to get the actual number value. So these are the rules while creating the Roman number into decimal number. Keeping all these things into our mind, we will develop the logic. Let us see the program for converting Roman number into decimal number. I'm sharing the screen again. I'm going into our editor. So in this we are going to write the program. See, in this program, first what we are trying to do is we declared a function. I'll explain what is a function later. As of now, remember, whenever I'm calling that name, it will go and execute the code over there. So here we are taking the Roman number as a character array, which is initialized with 0, and a number is a long int data type which is also initialized with 0, and these are the Roman letters, so which can be stored as a string. Okay, so it is a character array, so we are taking it as a string. Now each digit of that Roman number are extracted. So each character is extracted. For that we used I as 0 because we know that array index starts from 0. So we are checking with the function that the Roman letter is less than 0. If that is less than 0, then it is an invalid digit. There is no number less than 0, and also there is no number greater than. If the number is greater than 0, then we are going to convert I plus 2, then also it is a invalid number. Now you check here. What we are trying to do here is we are converting. Which case we are using? I or capital I or small I if we are giving, it is 1. B means 5, X means 10, L means 50, C means 100, D means 500, M means 1000. If all these are completed, the default is null value. Null value is not having any value, which is 0. If that is not the case, we are going to convert that value into -1. This value is returned to this particular position. Okay, after that we are checking whether it is having any invalid numbers or not. As I said, if the 3 digits are continuous, then they will be added, otherwise they will be subtracted. Now check the condition. Run the program. I would like to give 4. This is nothing but 4. Yes. This is how this program is run. Now go to the next one. The last program is about converting a 2's complement. Calculating a 2's complement. So 2's complement is nothing but it is generated from the 1's complement of the number. So 1's complement. What is 1's complement? If a binary number is given, the binary number contains only zeros and ones. So 1's complement will change 1 bit into 0 and 0 bit into 1. So once the 1's complement is formed, add a carry of 1 to the 1's complement, you will get a 2's complement. I'll show you with an example. See, this is the original binary number that we got it, and this is converted into 1's complement by changing 0 to 1, 1 to 0. So all 1's are converted into zeros, all zeros are converted into 1's. So this is our 1's complement. After this, getting this 1's complement, we are going to add a carry which is equals to 1. And now you have to check that if these two digits are 1, you are going to put 0 in this 2's complement. If this is 0 and this is 1, you are going to put 1 in this case. Otherwise, whatever you are having in the 1's complement is equivalent to 2's complement. Okay. So now 1 plus 1 is 1 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1. So 0 plus 0 is 0, 0, 1, 0, 0 and 1. So this is our 2's complement. Let us see the logic of this code. First, input the number of bits and it gets stored in n. After entering the number of bits, we declared a character array binary n plus 1. N is how many number of bits we are going to give. So we are going to create a character array plus 1 because we need to store the special character null. So we are adding plus 1 to the number of bits. So after that, we are going to create two more arrays, one for 1's complement, another for 2's complement, and also we are declaring a variable called carry and it is assigned to 1. After that, now we will read the input binary number. Once we got the input binary number, the next step is to calculate 1's complement. How we are converting it into 1's complement? Using a for loop. For index I is equals to 0 to n number of bits, so I equal to 0 to n we are using, and we will check whether the bit is equals to 1, then we will set the value as 0. Otherwise, if the bit is 0, we will set the value as 1. So after this, 1's complement will contain the number which is equivalent to 1's complement. Now, after completing this 1's complement, what the next step is to convert it into 2's complement. How we do this? This is also done using a control statement, which is a loop. So in this loop, what we are going to do is we will check three conditions. First condition is 1's complement is having 1 and carry is also 1, then we are putting 0 in 2's complement. Second condition, 1's complement is 0 and carry is 1, we are going to put a 1 in the 2's complement. Otherwise, we are going to say the 1's complement is nothing but 2's complement. This is the basic logic. So now let us see this in a code. I am sharing you the editor. There I will show you the program and we will run the program and we will check whether it is working or not working. We are going to give a binary number, and I would like to give the binary number as we have seen. The same number I want to give here. I'm going to give 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 0. Now let us check. We have given 0 1 1 0 1 1 1 0. 0 is converted to 1, 1s are converted to 0, and 0 is converted to 1, 1s are converted to 0. Yes, 1's complement is right. For that 1's complement, we are going to add plus 1. 1 plus 1 carry is 1. 1's complement is also 1, means we have to put 0. So next one is 0 and 1 is nothing but 1. The remaining will be as it is. Yes, this program is working. Let us check with a smaller number. I want to give 1001. 1's complement will be 0110. 0110. And 2's complement is nothing but 1110. Yes, this program is working. So this is all for today's class, and we will see in the next class. Thank you so much. Hope you have all enjoyed the lesson today, and let us come with some more programs on strings as well as on using expressions evaluations in the next videos. Have a good day. Good night.